£3,000 to complete the statue. Earlier this week, the campaign groups got what they've been fighting for. They got the statue, but then it was unveiled. Okay, let's have a look. There it is. So what you see is a nude, toned, people have even used the word pert woman, which many said was, and it's on a kind of blob of metal, which many say is an insult to the 18th century feminist philosopher. And campaigners have since covered up the statue with a t-shirt. Cheryl, can you see why they're cross?
No, I think that it's a bit strange to see feminists so revolted by the female form. And there's almost a Victorian prudishness to today's feminists, which is a bit strange. And it's a bit of a contrast, I'd say, from perhaps the 1960s, feminist movement, which was all about celebrating female sexuality, celebrating the female body, having just claimed control over the body, of course, with the invention of the pill and so on. I think we're going backwards with it. I think it's all too much.
Let me bring in Dr. Julia Long, who is a feminist activist with a member of Object, and actually by the statue in a perfect place. Is that your T-shirt you put on it, Julia?
I can hardly hear you. I can hardly hear you, Jeremy.
Tell us where you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. So I'm at Newington Green, where the statue is. And I don't know, can you see we've clothed the statue with a t-shirt that says woman, adult, human, female. Can you see that?
I see it. But Cheryl in our studio is just saying, actually, we shouldn't be ashamed. No one should be ashamed of the female form.
Jeremy, I'm sorry, I can really hardly hear you.
Well, let me just try that one more time. One of our other guests just said, why are people ashamed of the female form?
It's actually nothing to do with, that's a ridiculous statement to make. No one's ashamed of the female form. But the thing is, I live in this area. I was really supportive of the campaign. I donated to it, as did a lot of us. We were so excited and, really, really looking forward to seeing, the tribute, the commemoration to Mary Wollstonecraft. And basically, no one can believe it. We've been here all morning talking to people, and everyone's saying this is a community park. We're very proud of the fact that Mary Wollstonecraft lived here. We're very proud of the fact that she was a passionate advocate of the education of young girls. And what does this image, what does this sculpture, what message does it give out to young girls in the area who come along and just feel embarrassed and humiliated to see yet another objectified representation of a naked woman? It's an insult to Mary, and it's a real disservice to the local community.
Sarah?
I can't understand what the statue is about. The theory is that you don't need to be big to be powerful, but what they've then done is to place a mini bit of a tiny naked woman on top of a great big blob, as you say. My personal feeling is, if you were a manist rather than a feminist, would you dream of putting a naked man on top of there? This woman, Mary Wollstonecraft, was a legend. She had everything to do with education, emancipation. She had nothing to do with nudism. I think it's tragic.
All right, well, it's a serious thing. It's got people very upset. I'll come back to you in a second, Cheryl. We might even see if Cheryl can... Actually, I'll tell you what. Cheryl, can you just respond to Julia? Let's see if Julia can hear you.
But what I really don't understand is why we have to see all of these things through the prism of our own politics, the prism of our own prejudices. From the artist's perspective, she has decided not to clothe this statue because she feels that as soon as you put clothes on a statue, it transplants that statue into a moment in time, and she decided that she wanted this statue of Mary to be timeless. And so why can't we try and see things from the artistic point of view rather than what our expectations are based on maybe where we're coming from our own political viewpoint? I think it's actually really sad, and I feel sorry for the artist who is bewildered, frankly, by the viciousness of the backlash.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't think anyone feels sorry for Maggi Hambling, who got paid 143 grand to come up with this terrible thing. That's a really ridiculous argument to say, oh, capital. But we don't get a statue of Karl Marx with his willy out, do we? Why do we have a really important woman philosopher and educator reduced to an anonymous pair of breasts and a very strangely represented crotch? It's really humiliating. Women, this is a community park. People use it. People are proud of the legacy of Mary Wollstonecraft. And this is not a monument to her. It's a monument to unfortunately, the sexist belief and the really misguided nature of those who selected this above there was a really good option they could have gone with that showed Mary as a philosopher with a quill, with some books, and it was a seating area that people could have come and engaged with it. And instead we've got this, that everyone's heart just sank when we saw it. To be honest, I don't think it's going to stay up for long. I don't think people will put up with it.
Well, thank you, Dr. Julia Long.